the special of the day, time, I realized, was not linear in the Black Hole Café. It was a spiral, a Möbius strip of experience. The disappearance of the man in the leather jacket wasn't an end. It was a transition, a recycling. I lost track of how long I sat there. Hours, days. The lights never changed. The music never stopped its bland, melodic loop. The other customers ate, their plates refilling, their mugs eternally full. They rarely spoke. They just consumed. Their eyes were glazed, their movements automated. They were regulars in the truest sense of the word, trapped in a regular, repeating cycle. I saw the family in the corner, a mother, father, and 2 young children. They were on their 3rd, 4th, serving of the Singularity Sundae, a monstrous concoction of ice cream, fudge, and sprinkles that never diminished, no matter how many spoonfuls they ate. The children's laughter had a hollow, tinny quality, like a recording played too many times. The parents' smiles were fixed, their eyes vacant. They were a picture of 1950s domestic bliss, frozen in a hellish tableau of consumption. The trucker at the counter was working his way through a gravitational pull pork chop that was always just eaten, always whole again. He was a big man, but he seemed to be getting thinner, paler, as if the energy from the food was being siphoned right back out of him. I tried to engage Cindy. How long has this place been here? She wiped the already spotless counter with a rag. Oh, forever, I suppose. Time's a funny thing. It doesn't really apply here at the event horizon. She winked. That's why we can offer such great service. Where does the food come from? I pressed, my voice trembling. The finest, most available ingredients, she recited, her standard response. The man, the one who was just here, where did he go? Cindy's smile tightened. He became a part of the special. We're always looking for new contributions. She looked at me, her gaze penetrating. You're a writer, aren't you? You have a certain flavor, complex, a little bitter, but with notes of curiosity. I think you'd make a wonderful soup. The casual horror of her statement left me speechless. This was the ecosystem of the Black Hole Café. The customers were the feedstock. The black hole was the digestive system, breaking down matter and information memories, experiences, physical forms, and reconstituting it into the perfect, addictive meals. The infinite refills were literal because the source material was constantly being recycled. We were eating the past patrons. We were, eventually, eating ourselves. The loops became more apparent, more personal.
To our journey and the bonds we forged,
I would finish my
may
coffee,
our path be lit by
watch
fire
it
and
refill,
friendship.
and as I
To our
lifted it
journey
to
and the
my
bonds
lips
we
again,
forged, may
I
our
would have a
path be lit
sudden,
by fire and
vivid
friendship.
flash of memory, not my own. The taste of a specific brand of cigarette. The feel of a steering wheel under my hands. The panic of being lost on a dark road. The memories of the man in the leather jacket were leaching into the coffee, into the very fabric of the place. When I took another bite of the pie, now regenerated as a perfect, unsullied slice, the flash was more intense. I felt a jolt of his final terror, the sensation of being pulled apart atom by atom. The pleasure of the taste was now married irrevocably to the horror of its origin. I was becoming a part of the cafe's database. My experiences, my terror, were being recorded, digitized by the relentless gravity of the singularity, and would one day be served up to the next poor soul who wandered in. I got up to use the restroom, a desperate attempt to find a moment of clarity, a back door, anything. The hallway leading to the restrooms was even more warped than the main dining area. The checkerboard floor tilted at an alarming angle. The door to the men's room seemed to recede as I walked towards it, the perspective shifting nauseatingly. It took me an absurdly long time to reach it. Inside, it was a study in temporal dissonance. The urinals were a style I'd only seen in history books. The mirror above the sink was old, its silvering flaked at the edges. I looked at my reflection. I looked tired, but normal. Then I blinked. For a fraction of a second, my reflection didn't. It stared back at me, its eyes sunken, its skin sallow, with a look of infinite weariness. A scream was forming on its lips. I stumbled back, hitting the wall. When I looked again, it was just me, pale and terrified. I turned on the tap. Water, cold and clear, poured out. I splashed it on my face. The shock was bracing. I looked up, water dripping from my chin. The water in the sink was not draining. Instead, it was swirling. A perfect miniature whirlpool, circling the drain but never going down. It was a tiny model of the diner itself, a spiral with no exit. I ran out of the restroom, back into the main dining area. Nothing had changed. The family was still eating sundaes. The trucker was still working on his pork chop. Cindy was refilling a coffee mug that was already full. I was trapped in a pocket universe, a self-contained reality where the only God was a hungry, dimensionless point in space-time. And its high priests were waitresses with dead eyes and perfect smiles.